The thrift store bell barely rang, it sighed. Shelves leaned with old lamps and teacups. The place smelled of lemon oil and paper. Mara hadn't planned to stop, but the light in the window was warm and the day felt heavy. She stepped in. At the back, a bowed bookshelf held books from different lives. One small black Bible caught her eye, soft leather, corners rubbed thin, gold edges turned brass. Inside the cover, Ruth Ellen Hart, Christmas 1973. For every season. A pressed maple leaf slipped out and landed on Mara's palm. She turned the pages. Verses were underlined with a careful hand. Tiny margin notes said things like strength and I am with you. Halfway through Psalms, a pale envelope sat hidden in the gutter. On the front, in a round, younger hand, Mama. The flap wasn't sealed. Mara's breath changed. She looked toward the counter. The shopkeeper talked softly with someone about a winter coat. She touched the envelope, then tucked it back. The Bible felt alive in her hands, full of a life that had taken notes. She thought of her own daughter, Lynn, and of the conversations they had stopped finishing. She carried the Bible to the counter. That one's $5, the silver-haired clerk said. Came from a house on Brook Lane. We put the good ones out. Good ones, Mara echoed, and paid. At home, soup simmered on a low flame. The house made its small sounds, a ticking radiator, a clock slightly wrong. Mara sat at the table, washed her hands, and opened the Bible again. The envelope waited. She slid the letter free. She didn't know that inside that envelope, a lifetime of love waited to be discovered. There was no date. Just a plain beginning. Dear Mama, I am sorry. The handwriting was young and careful. Mara read aloud, because some words feel truer in air. I'm writing here because I don't think I can say it right to your face. I'm sorry for how I left, for the words that don't wash out. I was angry at everything and I made you the wall I pushed against. Another paragraph followed, smaller and truer. I know you're not the reason Daddy got sick. I know you didn't choose the things that hurt. You kept saying God was close and I heard you were far. I see it now. You were tired and you loved us and you did your best. I didn't say thank you. I didn't say I see you. Mara felt her own throat tighten. She saw a daughter at a kitchen table under a soft lamp. She thought of Lynn and the summer they argued until doors became borders. The letter continued with plain details. I'm working at the diner on Route 6. The coffee is burned most mornings. I'm learning to make it right. A woman named Alma sits at the counter and tells me I look like I'm running. I told her I'm walking back. It might be a long walk. I want you to know I'm on it. I kept the maple leaf from the porch. You said, even leaves remember how to be beautiful when they're done. I didn't understand then. I think I do now. I want to be done with the ugly way I've been. Mara touched the pressed leaf. Outside, a neighbor's dog barked twice. The soup turned a slow circle. The letter grew specific, brave. I am sorry I said you loved church more than me. Sorry I missed Daddy's birthday to prove I didn't need you. Sorry I didn't answer when you called. Sometimes the phone rang and I was there. I couldn't pick up because I knew if I heard your voice I would cry, and I had decided not to need anything. I do. I need you. I was wrong. Mara set the page down for a moment, then lifted it again. If you can forgive me, I want to come home for Sunday dinner. I'll bring rolls and make the gravy. We can sit on the back steps and watch lightning bugs. I'll tell you about the night I walked to the bridge and the river kept moving like it hadn't heard my worst thoughts. I'll tell you about Alma's granddaughter who draws hearts on napkins so I won't forget to be kind. I'll tell you about the song on the radio that sounded like grace. The last line began and didn't land. If you can find it in your heart. And then the sentence stopped. No period. Just white space, like a small road into silence. At the bottom of the page, one sentence was left unfinished. Rain brushed the kitchen window. Mara looked again at the Bible, at starred dates and small notes. On the presentation page, 2 names, and a blank line. She thought of time, of second chances, of how forgiveness sometimes needs help to reach its home. The thrift store ledger gave her a name and a number, Thomas Hart, nephew of Ruth. On the phone, his voice was older, gentle. "You must have Ruth's Bible," he said. She kept it on the table by the window. She had one daughter, Lila. They had a hard patch when Lila was in her 20s. She came back for my uncle's funeral, but it wasn't simple. "Would you like me to bring the Bible?" Mara asked. "Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, he said. 42 Brook Lane. I'll leave the porch light on." The next morning, the house on Brook Lane smelled of old wood and lavender. A piano sat by the window. A ring from a long-ago cup marked a side table. Thomas set the Bible in that circle and breathed out. "Ruth underlined with a straight edge," he said. "She said God's words deserved steady hands." He called Lila. The call went to voicemail. He left a message that somehow made him sound like Tommy again. Then he asked Mara to read. She read the letter to the end, right up to the unfinished slope of the last line. Thomas pressed his lips together and nodded. "Ruth would have forgiven her before the sun went down," he said. "She didn't always know how to say it out loud." Then Mara saw it, on the inside back cover, faint pencil letters only the shifting morning light revealed. "Yes, darling. Yes. Mama." They stared. Thomas laughed softly, wet-eyed. "That's her," he whispered. Quiet as rain. They didn't know if Lila would call. But something in the house eased, like a tight door gently opening. Mara thought of Lynn. Of cards sent in December with safe words. Of what a first sentence could hold if she let it be simple. She folded the letter back into the Bible, and for the first time in years her chest felt light. That evening, Mara brewed tea and wrote a card. No rehearsals. No speeches. Just a beginning. "Dear Lynn, I am sorry. I'm sorry for the heat in my voice that summer. I tried to win instead of understand. I miss the ordinary days with you. If you can find it in your heart, will you call me? I'll make soup. We can sit by the window and tell the truth, even if it comes slowly. I'm ready to listen. Love, Mom." She sealed it before she could soften the truth. 2 days later, Thomas called back. "Lila heard the voicemail in the grocery store," he said. "She had to sit on a bag of dog food to finish it. She's coming Saturday. Would you come too?" On Saturday, the porch wore a single stubborn marigold. Lila arrived in a blue sweater, hair pulled back. Around the eyes, she looked like her mother. She touched the Bible as if greeting an old friend. "Mama read to me from this when thunder scared me," she said. "We'd let the good words do their work." Mara slid the envelope across. Lila unfolded the paper and read in silence. When she reached the unfinished line, she looked up. "I didn't know if she ever saw it," she whispered. Mara turned the back cover and showed the pencil reply. Lila pressed her hand to her mouth and then to the page. "Yes, darling." "Yes," she read, and the room breathed out with her. They spoke about small things first, rolls from the new bakery, the sticky middle C on the piano in winter. Then they circled the larger truths, close enough to feel the warmth, far enough not to scorch. Lila said she left because everything felt both too tight and too loud. Ruth had prayed hard and sometimes forgot the simple words, "You are enough." They had missed each other by inches for years. Thomas brought out a shoebox tied with ribbon, Christmas cards, some late, some unsent. In one photo, young Lila stood on the porch with a paper bag of rolls. On the back, in Ruth's hand, "She brings bread. I will make room." They ate sandwiches at the table. Afternoon slid quietly along the walls. Before she left, Lila asked to take the Bible for a while. Thomas said yes. They wrapped it in a piece of old tablecloth. On the porch, Lila turned to Mara. "I don't know how to thank you." "Your mother carried this first," Mara said. "I just helped it finish the trip." That night, a phone rang in a quiet kitchen across town. Mara let it ring twice, then answered. "Hi, Mom," Lynn said, and the way she said Mom left a gentle space for new things to grow. They talked like people taking down a fence together, post by post, patient, careful. They told the truth in small pieces and let silence help. A week later, Lila returned to Brook Lane with a tin of rolls and a grin that belonged to the girl in the old photograph. She, Thomas, and Mara sat on the back steps and watched porch lights and the first star appear. No one fixed the past. They made room for it and passed the gravy, lumps and all. Before leaving, Lila slipped the pressed leaf back into the Bible. "Even leaves remember how to be beautiful when they're done," she said. This time, the words sounded finished, less like an ending, more like a promise. Later, Mara opened her mailbox. Inside was a small envelope in Lynn's handwriting. "Mom," the front said. The note began, "I am sorry, too." 2 people, 2 sentences, a bridge strong enough to walk on. Sometimes love writes itself over years and hides where we'll find it, between thin pages, inside old covers, and pencil light enough to need the right morning. Sometimes a stranger carries your apology the last mile and sets it on your table like bread. Maybe some love stories never end, they simply wait for us to recognize their handwriting. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more forgotten letters and timeless memories. Have you ever found something from the past that changed how you saw life? Share your story in the comments. Your words might comfort someone else. Thank you for listening with such a kind heart. Please like the video, subscribe, and until we meet again.